Okay, lesson 28. Remember you learned back probably in, I don't know, probably 6th or 7th grade, maybe 5th grade even, that if you have something being divided by a fraction, then you're going to take the numerator, the top, and you're going to multiply it by the reciprocal of the denominator. Okay, now remember, this is all over 1, right? So here we'll get df plus ef when I distribute that over 1, which I don't have to put, and that's done. So again, remember now this is the big line here. So it's this one over that one. Okay, so that's going to be e over v, that's the numerator, times, I don't really have to put a dot there, but I did just to make the point. So I flipped this one and multiplied it. Okay, so then I'm going to distribute the e. I get ev plus e squared, and then multiply those together. Okay, so on this one, again, this is the big line. So I get 1 over b plus c, and that's going to be times the reciprocal of the denominator. So that's just simply d over b plus c, right? Which happens to be this one here. Okay, now we're going to talk about something called rationalizing the denominator. Anytime there's a square root in the bottom, you can't leave it there. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by whatever that square root is. Don't worry about the number in front of it. So you get 12 times the square root of 7, and you get 7 times the square root of 49. But you know that what the square root of 49 is, it's 7. So this is 7 times 7, so that's 49. And it got rid of the square root in the bottom. Now these two numbers right here cannot be reduced, but if they could, we would need to do that, but we can't. So we're done. So this one, we're going to multiply by the square root of 605 over the square root of 605. So I get 2 times the square root of 605. Now back up here, we knew that 7 times 7 was 49, but notice that when you're taking something and multiplying it by itself when it's a square root, the answer is always just whatever number is under the square root. So when I multiply, there's a 5 here, when I multiply these two together and then take the square root, it's just going to be 605, but no square root. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to multiply 605 times 5, and we're going to get 3,025 in the bottom. And we've got 2 times the square root of 605. Now, I wonder if this can be simplified any, this square root of 605, because it's quite large, isn't it? So if I think about that for a minute, the square root of 605. Now, I know for sure that it's divisible by 5, so I can factor that. And if you're pretty good with your squares, then you know that 11 squared is 121. So this is the square root of 5 times the square root of 121. So that's the same thing as saying 11 times the square root of 5. I switched the orders, didn't I? Okay, so let's take this down here, and I'm going to change this square root of 605 to 11 times the square root of 5. And it's over 3,025, right? So that's giving me 22 times the square root of 5 over 3,025. So now what I'm wondering is if 3,025 is divisible by 2, which I know it's not, but by 11, and it is. So 11 goes into this 2 times, it goes into this 275 times. So 2 times the square root of 5 over 275. This is your final answer. And you can see that that's option A. Have fun.